Hello everyone and welcome to my video. I am Miranda and I will be your Enchantress of Avalon, taking you into a journey to the lands mystical and into Avalon. For today's video, my subject is going to be Blod-e-th, who is a Welsh Celtic goddess, and she is part of the Avalonian tradition, so very appropriate for this channel. Blod-e-th's story is very unique in that she is both a flower bride and associated with owls, which are hunting birds, birds of prey. And a couple of books about her, both very great. This one was edited by Jenna Tillendrew. Again, I'm hoping I'm saying her name correctly. And then this one was written by her. And they are really good resources to get into the story of Blod-e-th. I do want to say that there's going to be a lot of Welsh names in this video, including Blod-e-th's name herself, and that means that their pronunciations are not easy. So I do apologize if I mispronounce something. I am learning Welsh and learning the Welsh pronunciations. It just takes a little time. So hopefully I do okay with that. Okay. Well, the story of Blod-e-th starts in the fourth branch of the Mabinogion, and that is when Earnard, who is a goddess of the moon and also a virgin goddess, or she was supposed to be, is tricked into trying to prove she's a virgin in the very beginning. And when she does this jump over, I believe it's a broomstick in most versions, but she has to jump over something to prove she's virgin. She immediately gives birth to two sons. One of them is born as, pretty much fully formed, or at least as a small child, and he is named Dylan, and he runs off into the sea. And from that point, he's not really in the tale anymore. The other one is not fully incubated yet, but he is taken by her brother and her brother Gideon, and Gideon raises the boy. But Earnard said she wouldn't do some basic things. She wouldn't give him a name. Well, he tricks her into giving him a name. She calls him Lula-Gaif, or Gaifes, and he is then named that. But to make it easier, I'm just going to refer to him as Lou for the entire video. And I do want to also note that there is a connection, and it is believed that he is the same character, the same figure as the Irish god Lugh, who the Celtic celebration of Lughnasa is named for. He's a sun god, and that comes into play in his story, in this story. And then she also says, well, I won't allow him to marry anyone who is living. No living woman, no dead woman. He can't marry anyone. Well, Gideon, along with another magician named Math, decide to circumvent this. And how they do this is they create a woman from flowers, and she's named Blod-e-th. And she becomes the bride of Lugh. And for the very beginning of the story, it starts out good. They have a good marriage in the beginning. This isn't to last, though. And they end up with Blod-e-th feeling really lonely, because Lugh is forever going off and hunting and traveling and doing all these things, and she's left by herself, which means she's also open to prospective other suitors. And that's exactly what happens. A man by the name of Grenouille is hunting on Lugh's lands, and he takes respite at the palace when Lugh is gone and meets Blod-e-th, and she falls in love with him. He falls in love with her, and they begin an affair, which lasts a total of 3 nights. Each time he offers to leave the next morning, and she said, no, stay with me, stay with me. And so finally on the third morning, she was like, okay, you could leave now, after the third night. because there was a Welsh custom that if you bedded a woman 3 nights in a row and stayed all the way through the night, she would be your wife. So this is going to call into question the marriage between Lugh and Blod-e-th, which is what she wants. She doesn't want to be married to Lugh anymore, now that she's tasted love and freedom of her in her own right. So Grenouille leaves to go back to his own lands, and Blod-e-th says, I will figure out how to get rid of my husband, how he is vulnerable, and then you can kill him. And she tells him this, and he agrees. So when Lugh comes back, Blod-e-th starts asking questions, and he thinks that she's interested and that she's scared that he'll die, and it's very hard to kill him. It's this very complex ritual, but he explains exactly how it can be done. And Blod-e-th goes and sends that information off to her lover, who then spends a year crafting this weapon that can kill him. And in most versions of the tale, he succeeds. He succeeds, and Lugh is killed. But not permanently. Math and Gideon are able to bring him back to life, and in other versions, they don't succeed. But in every version, Blod-e-th, for her involvement and for her treachery, is turned into an owl. And that's why she's associated with both flowers and owls. And in fact, the word Blod-e-th is a word for an owl in the Welsh language to this day. Little side note, which is really cool. So, what is the moral of the story? Well, it's certainly a bit of a culminated wife story, because she's very sad. She hates that he's not paying attention to her, and she feels rejected. That's what leads to this sexual relationship with another man. It isn't this inherently evil, wicked thing she's doing. She just feels lonely and wants to no longer feel lonely. So she falls in love, and she ends up falling truly in love with this man. And Grenouille does get killed in this tale, and Blod-e-th spends the rest of her days as a bird, which is difficult for her because owls are hunting birds, they're night stalking birds, and she was made of flowers. The sun was very important to her. And when I said that Lugh is associated with the sun, well, Grenouille is also associated with the dark half and with winter. So this is also an archetypal thing that happens a lot in Celtic culture. And it is someone symbolizing summer and someone symbolizing winter, two men who will fight over a flower bride. Blod-e-th is the archetypal flower bride in every version of the tale, and Lugh is symbolic of summer, Grenouille is symbolic of winter. And so they fight over the flower bride, and this is part of the turning of the wheel of the year. The flower bride going with summer and winter as the wheel of the year turns. And that is the basic symbology of the story, and that's what it's kind of linked to Persephone in that way, because it's the turning of the wheel of the year, the turning of the seasons that are being explored through this myth. And I thought that that made it a very appropriate follow-up to my Persephone video, as well as I thought it was appropriate because they're both flower maiden figures to begin with, who then change into something else. Instead of going to be a goddess of the underworld, she becomes a goddess of owls, and they are symbols of wisdom, of course, so that's a very appropriate thing. I know this video has been very short, but I hope everyone has enjoyed it, and I do want to thank all of my regular viewers, and I want to encourage you to watch my live streams on Twitch on Monday and Friday nights, and to like, subscribe, follow both here on YouTube and on Twitch and on my blog, whiteroseofbabylon.life. I hope you have a fantastic upcoming week and a fantastic holiday week, and I will see you again next Sunday. So have a very, very, very blessed Yule.